Can you hear us on the Zoom? Brian, can you hear us?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I guess it's 6 o'clock. Should we call the meeting to order? Would all who wish rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one agenda adjustment. I would make a motion to add an item 15, executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other agenda adjustments? We'll go ahead and vote on that. Jake.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
I also vote aye. The agenda is adjusted. I would make a motion to approve the minutes of January 9th as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any corrections or adjustments? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Next up, we come to the warrants. I would make a motion to approve payroll warrant 15, regular warrant 15, and capital improvement warrant 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next up, we have public comment. I will note a couple of points as I do from time to time. The general policy for public, there's a full policy BEDH, but it's reflected here in the wording. We are always happy to have feedback. Public comment should start by stating your name, last name and address, regardless of whether in person or on Zoom. All comments are capped in length, and shorter time limits may be set by the chair in advance, which I'm going to do tonight to 90 seconds, a minute and a half per comment. I don't think we have this many people in the room, but just on the off case we do, I would limit the comments to 10 comments as well. The other point to address, and this has been new for about a year now, but well, I mean, it's not that new, but the language is new. So comments about specific RSU 26 employees or students, whether they are positive or negative, are prohibited during the public comment period. Complaints or allegations against specific employees or students are similarly prohibited, should be addressed through established district policies and procedures, although the board may the boards may answer a brief question, but is not going to engage in public comment. We'll save that for discussion later. Again, so if there's a complaint, there's other processes. The board is not the appropriate place to start a public complaint. And public comments about an individual employee are not allowed during public comments. All comments, they can certainly be addressed to the board or board members. We're fair game for just about anything, to be honest, although politeness is, of course, appreciated. But comments about employees need to remain as group comments that refer to, let's say, 5 people or more, right? So you can talk about the math program, but you can't start talking about things that would specify that more specifically. So we will be using sign up for public comment. If people in the room can raise their hand if they're interested in public comment, and people on Zoom, if you could type into the chat if you're interested in a public comment. We'll just I'll pause for 30 seconds and we'll just get a list of interested parties in advance. I'm not seeing anybody online who's signing up to speak. Is anybody in the room signed up to speak?
No.
Okay. I'll give just one last quick call for public comment. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward. Next up, we have acknowledgements. Jake, any acknowledgements?
Not at this time, thank you.
Kevin?
Not at this time, thank you.
Noah?
I guess I'll just say, last time I realized the value of the student board members last time. Because you guys brought up, I forget what we were even talking about, but a really AI, thank you. A really important top point that I wasn't thinking about, and from your perspective was really helpful. We all started talking about it, and then when we went to vote, I felt like, oh wait, don't you guys get to vote too? So I guess I just really appreciate your being there, and I support all the sort of ways we can continue to formally incorporate you into this body and process. So thank you.
Mark?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Doris or Marissa, I know you have a report in a minute, but anything you want to do now?
Congrats to all those who have finished midterms.
There you go. I don't think I have anything. Meredith, do you have anything?
A couple of items. Since we last met, we had one of our full day staff workshop days for teacher in service, and we had a really productive day, and I want to acknowledge Susan Smith and really a host of others who helped make that day happen. There were teacher facilitators, guest speakers, and the day was just really successful and productive. So thanks to Susan and all who helped make that happen, and to all staff who were meaningfully engaged that day. Additionally, I want to acknowledge we had a wonderful ceremony in the PAC of last week that Shauna organized, our NHS ceremony that was just really well done. It's always really nice to hear students talking about their classmates. And so I want to acknowledge Shauna as well as all of the inductees. And that's all.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have reports. Lisa, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. First thing I want to talk about a little bit is, I know I've brought up in the past that our English language learners' needs are going to change at a recent, or a couple months ago, I heard at a regional directors meeting that we had 400 MLL folks moving to the Bangor area, the surrounding areas, that will be coming into our schools, and we'll be looking to support them in our schools. And at the last meeting, we had 100 that had recently moved to the area or were soon to be moving to the area. So it's definitely on the rise, and something that we need to consider as far as meeting kids' needs. Next, 504 numbers are pretty stable at 106 currently. Our special ed numbers are at 232, which puts us right around the, I think it's 26%. We have referrals coming in all the time. I received 2 parent referrals, and I think it was 2 or 3 other referrals this week from staff. And we're getting a lot more parent referrals, and those are coming from pediatricians that are advising them that if they want their kids evaluated, it'd be quicker to do it through the school. And sometimes that's valid, and depending on the circumstances, and I honor the request. And other times, following our the state guidelines, if we don't already have supports in place for students and we're not seeing a need in the school, perhaps something's happening at home that they're looking for support for, those are times where I have to apologize and say that, we're not able to meet that request at this time. We've got spots still to fill. We have 2 ed techs at ASA. We've had a recent loss. We have another ed tech coming in, or that we need at the high school. We were able to get one that is being paid through Ascending School. And I was able to move another position from the high school to the middle school. And we've got a person starting there at the beginning of February. So looking forward to that. We do also have 2 special education teachers that are going to be going on maternity leave in the spring, coming up real soon here. And, you know, that adds to our needs. We have people spreading out pretty thin to meet the needs of our kids. And we're still looking for folks. So if you know anybody interested in a position, send them our way. At a recent meeting with special ed staff at ASA, we started discussing the restructuring that we did there at OMS and at ASA because of the change in staff and the change in student population that was moving. And we're revisiting those decisions to see how well they're working and fine tuning them and discussing whether or not we need any kind of changes for the upcoming school year. And lastly, we have kids that have been continuing to participate in Special Olympics currently at the middle school and high school. We, at the beginning of the month, we'll be taking 10 athletes to the regional event for bowling. And then we have a couple of OMS students who want to participate in the Winter Games at Herman Mountain in February. And we've also seemed to have sparked an interest for students at ASA, and there's some conversation happening between teachers and the person who's kind of taking the lead is Holly Gunn for the district, and she's having conversations with staff at ASA about potential interest for ASA students joining in on these Special Olympics opportunities. Other than that, per usual, business continues to be very good. We're working on budgets for next year and continue to be very busy. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Susan, you want to give your report?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'll start off by sharing a little bit more information around the January 12th Professional Development Day. Many people's hands went into making that day a success, and the feedback was really quite positive, and nice to see people commenting in the feedback about clear connections between district needs and things that happened that day. So one of the pieces that occurred was Kat Biddle came and helped us become people who could combat inequity and thinking about ways that economic inequity was playing out in our classrooms and in our schools. Folks responded very well to the simulation that they had and kind of experienced some of what it felt like to be frustrated and sort of beyond, have needs beyond what your current economic situation could meet. So that was a good conversation. The feedback also said that they wish that we had more time to process and implement some of the things and also learn a bit more from Kat Biddle around what strategies would be really useful in the classroom. So we're excited that Dr. Biddle is offered to come back to our district-wide day on March 15th. We had a religion and spirituality panel, and Sonia Berthasol from the Wilson Center at UMaine helped recruit participants in that panel. It was a really good discussion. We learned about Confucianism and Christianity, Judaism, Muslim or Islam, as well as Buddhist perspective. And I think staff got quite a bit of insight into things that we should do to support students of different religious backgrounds in our schools. The one disappointment is that we were hoping to, but unable to find somebody to come and share the Wabanaki spiritual traditions with us. And we will keep that need in mind that showed up in the feedback. We did reach out to a couple different people, and I think it needs a face-to-face relationship and conversation in order to have people from the Wabanaki culture be more comfortable coming to talk with us. One of the things that was highlighted in the feedback was the value of spending time at ASA looking at NWA scores alongside of other literacy assessment data and scores that we have for our students. They felt that digging into that data and thinking about strategies and needs was really helpful. And quite a bit of positive feedback for our facilitators of our book studies. We're running 5 book studies throughout the year, and each one of those books is paired with 2 staff members who help facilitate the book studies, and they've really put a nice effort into those and are appreciated by their peers. So when we get to the last round, I'll make sure that we thank each of them personally and share their names with you, but they're doing a nice job with that. Our next district-wide full day is March 15th, and we'll participate in some activities with PrEP. The PrEP region is having a keynote speaker that morning about joy and happiness in the education world, and I think that that's a good topic for us to connect to our staff and student well-being. The January 10th early release day ended up being a snow day for us, and we did not have school that day. The intent was to spend the afternoon working on technology, and so we are thinking about different ways and times that we can reschedule that work, particularly taking a look at AI and AI guidelines, but also giving teachers a chance to experiment and try AI out. Some people have had quite a bit of that experience, and some have had absolutely no exposure to AI at all. The other piece that's really important, I think, is really trying to support the implementation of the technology statements and the scope and sequence. So the intent was for teachers to become familiar or refamiliarize themselves with those and really look more closely at their own individual technology philosophies to see how those may need to be revamped or revisited to line up with the tech use statements and the scope and sequence. Another piece with the scope and sequence is on February 5th, we have a task force that is coming together to work to identify some model lessons for digital citizenship and online safety so that teachers at each grade level can have something to use that would really address those skills and concerns when it comes to digital citizenship and online safety in the scope and sequence. And that group includes those folks on our technology committee, including Jason and also Melissa Barton, who is the ed tech that helps out a lot with technology. Officer Dan Patterson is coming to help. He has a really good curriculum called Net Smarts that he's going to share with us, and we are figuring out how to incorporate him into lessons so that he can come and do guest speaker and guest teaching in our classrooms. And we also have a student teacher and potentially a high school student that will be participating with us that day. We wanted some folks that were a little closer to high school age and might know some of the newer concerns when it comes to digital citizenship and online safety. And then also in the realm of technology, Jason and Melissa and I have worked to develop a form so that when teachers are requesting additional software for students to use, even if that is an online program that's free, that they use the form to identify what the need is and how that software meets that need. One of the things that we're asking folks to do also is to take a look at the privacy in terms of use literature that goes with that software. And there's been some frustration because Google Education has developed a process to turn off a lot of the software that sometimes we're used to using and sometimes we're used to using with kids. That's, I think, a help to us in the world of education, but can be frustrating when somebody finds out that a software program that they've been using all of a sudden they don't have access to, or their students don't have access to. So trying to explain what those rules are around 13 plus, meaning it can be used at the high school, but not at OMS, and what can be used by adults and students has been definitely a process that we've been working through. And part of that process, we counted today and realized that there are over 3,000 software programs and apps that people have been using in our district. Some of those very heavily, and some of those just 1 or 2 people on 1 or 2 occasions. But we do have a way of tracking that. Now we're trying to to sort through all of that information and figure out who should be using what exactly. The health curriculum will be going to the curriculum committee for the February 8th meeting. We are collecting feedback through an online survey, and I think as of this afternoon had 18 people participate in that. Most of the feedback has been generally positive. There are definitely some opinions around some of what people see as issues, and we'll share that and think about whether we should incorporate some of that into our curriculum documentation or not. One of those issues, for example, is around what's served in the cafeteria. So that's maybe not a curriculum issue so much as just kind of thinking about and sharing with Ben the feedback that we've gotten in that realm. I think by having the dessert and discuss process in place, we've learned a lot. I learned the first time a bit, I think, about the formatting that might work better for folks. And the second time we learned about advertising is really important. And so we'll continue trying to make a dessert and discuss part of the process that we use to get feedback from stakeholders around curriculum work and see if we can grow and expand that the next time around. There's some DEI work that's been happening that I did not put in my report, but just letting folks know that the Cultural Competency Committee will be meeting soon to take a look at the feedback we got about the rubric for evaluating textbooks. A Wabanaki Studies group is meeting on February 2nd, and we're also talking about Wabanaki Studies at the Maine Curriculum Leaders Association meeting tomorrow morning. So I'm looking forward to hearing what other districts and places across the state are using for resources and ideas. And the Family Welcoming Committee that is part of the Family and Student Ambassador programs, the family branch of that, we have some parents that are working really hard to get some family ambassadors in place and pilot and a little bit of interaction with folks this spring so that they can have a strong family ambassador program going in the fall. And then at ASA, the literacy team has been meeting with Allison and Carrie and I. Multiple teachers from different grade levels participate on about once a week or once every other week. It's 7:45 in the morning. And one of the things we're excited about right now is the opportunity to apply for $23,609.10 from the state to support literacy in the realm of professional development and very specific reading needs for whole class tier 1 type of instruction, not for Title I students or special ed students or Chapter 504 advanced students, but really tier 1 classroom instruction. So we're excited about the opportunity to have some funds from the state to meet those needs. Teachers at the literacy committee meeting this week really talked about what we'd like to see is a balance of some professional development around a common resource and then time for teachers to work together in collaborative groups to figure out best ways to implement that resource in their classroom. And also we're thinking around phonics and phonemic awareness for the younger kids, spelling, word study, sort of phonics into reading for the older classes, grades 3 to 5. And I also think there'll probably be enough funds to help support a review of some other more comprehensive reading programs this summer so that we could possibly pilot a couple options next year to be prepared the year after to come to the board with a recommendation. And I think that's what I had to say tonight. Share tonight. Any questions? Or
Nope, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to the student report.
Hi, good evening. For school culture, congratulations to the talented OHS art students whose artwork is on display at the Zillman Art Museum Bangor. Yearbook ads are on sale until February 8th. The OHS FAFSA night has been rescheduled to the 8th of February. The Children's Books Drive for Acadia Hospital is ending next Tuesday. Donations can be made in the OHS lobby. The OHS Ambassadors team is preparing for Civic Book Day this February, and the class of 2024 is holding a February basket raffle. As for academics, congratulations to everyone who finished and graded midterms last week. Ad drop week is this week for the high school. Congratulations to everyone sworn into NHS last Wednesday. For activities, we have Queer Stories Who Tell the Truth is tonight in the OPAC at 7. Asa Show Choir began Thursday of last week and everyone's doing really well. The crochet and knitting club started up today.
The One Act program is starting up.
The environmental club and math team had bake sales and they went very well.
Best of luck to the high school basketball, hockey, swim, track, cheering, and ski teams during this busy week of games and meets. They have a lot. That's all we have.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Nope. I just realized quickly there is one acknowledgement I forgot. Just wanted to acknowledge that I received, the whole board received a number of emails expressing opinions over the past couple of weeks, and just wanted to express gratitude for receiving those and assure people that they were read in full detail and appreciated. Meredith, do you have a superintendent's report?
Yes. I think Lisa mentioned that she's working on budget, and I would say that that's true in all departments. Budgets were due about a week ago, and Lynn has been working to pull together last details. We're having meetings with the directors and principals this week and early next week to be able to prepare that first look for the board that we will go through at our next meeting. I think on 6th, that's the next meeting, where we just give that high level. It's not until high level discussion. It's not until the later February meeting where we kind of dive into more granular information. But we've been working hard to meet deadlines to be ready for all those reports that are on the horizon. Additionally, we received our funding allocation reports. They came out last week, and which was a little earlier than usual, but on a year that is, you know, the second year in the budget cycle, it's not altogether uncommon to get it a little earlier. And yeah, while the picture certainly feels a little better, it's still a little disappointing at the same time. And we'll talk about those details when we roll out the first talk of the budget next week. I've told you a couple times about the Say Something anonymous reporting system. We're really close to implementation. Student training starts next week, first with ASA and then followed closely by OMS and then the high school. Staff is getting kind of their overview to understand the system over these weeks as well. Parent information is going to be sent out probably Monday in the district newsletter. We're preparing a district newsletter and going to put it in that so parents are aware as well. And it will begin to come online for each school once training of students has happened. So it'll be a little bit of a staggered start. So for ASA, for example, they have the first training, so their portal will open up a little sooner than the other schools. And once the training has taken place for students, then the portal opens up. So our team's been working to be ready for that. And there was an article recently in either New York Times and NPR about that reference Say Something as you know, a really effective system for violence prevention and safety in schools. So you know, it was one of a couple mentioned in the article. So I feel like we're getting a really good system, and it's a great tool that's offered by the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation. So we're really glad to be partnered with them. We talked last meeting about the RFQ that we put out for architect design support for preparing a construction application for the middle school. We moved forward with the vendor that submitted a proposal and had a meeting, and they talked with them about some questions we had. They're preparing a proposal to share with us around time and cost kind of details of what they see the work entailing. Coincidentally, today we had that meeting, and today was also the day that I first saw the application has come out along with the timeline and details about the process. So it's well timed, and we'll be ramping up quickly to get started because it's a big lift to develop a competitive application. Also, it was recently reported at a Pinquist meeting that, the Department of Education isn't, about waivers of, from December of the power outages that shut down schools, that they aren't just automatically waiving days, but that districts are invited, if they wish to do so, to request to submit a request for a waiver of those days. My thought is that we see how many more days we have to use and then decide if we feel like a waiver is necessary. As of today, we've used our 4th day last week, whenever the 10th was, when Susan wrote this a couple weeks ago now. And so let's see what the weather brings over the next month or so, and decide if we want to submit a waiver for those days. And I'll, in the meantime, be able to hear more about how the department is processing those when districts are submitting. So that's what how I'd like to proceed on that. Team, myself and a representative from each school is attending a wellness summit later this week. The Department of Education holds. This is their 2nd year hosting this, and it's well aligned with our work that we're doing on the well-being committee to give schools, tools, ideas for how to promote well-being. So we look forward to bringing back information and resources from that training. And that's all I had for my report. Do you have any questions?
Did they announce a specific pot of money attached to the state funding?
They did not announce that. There hasn't actually been an announcement. I just looked on the website and saw it there. So I'm guessing there will be a priority notice coming out soon. And that will, hopefully indicate if there's more money than usual or the same amount of money that's typically there. So
There had been rumors more because of the circus.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any change in that. I know there was talk of that the state board was convening kind of a small work group to look into restructuring how SRF and other school construction programs work, and are they meeting needs? But I know there's not been a result from that committee study group.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We'll move on. We do not have any discussion items this week. We have one action item. We have a co-curricular slate. I would make a motion to approve the co-curricular slate as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
And it's an easy one to read this week. It's one position, unified middle school basketball, half-time with Kristen Espling. Is there any discussion or questions?
I would just say this is a correction to the last meeting. We had the wrong name listed, so this is correcting that approval that was for the wrong person.
Okay. Any other information or questions? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Carries 5-0. We'll move on to subcommittee reports. Policy subcommittee will meet before the next board meeting, but I don't know that we'll actually have anything to output. We're still working on generative AI, but I think that's more based on board feedback at this point. Meredith and I are going to work on that. We haven't talked. I guess that might go back to the policy committee for discussion, or it might not. And then, of course, it comes back to the board for a second read. The other big piece of work has been on IJOA, our field trip policy, and in particular, water safety, water field trips related to water. I think I'm really glad Meredith suggested we do that. It's been a very educational process. We have some real strong expertise and safety knowledge in pockets, Chad Kirkpatrick and Jeff Owens in particular. who've been leading water trips, so that's good news. But I would also say that it's very pocketed and isolated knowledge at the moment. So I think rolling that into a policy is going to be good, but it's about 2 pages of new text. So there's definitely going to be some digging and a discussion to have on that. Next up, we have UTC.
We have not met since the last board meeting.
Okay.
No news.
Spruce?
Nor have we, but our next meeting is February 15th.
Okay, curriculum committee, I think got canceled in January. So anything else, Susan?
Next meeting is February 8th, and we'll take a look at the health curriculum and course proposals for OHS for next year.
Great. Facilities and building, I think you heard the main update from Meredith on that. Wellness committee, anything to add, Noah?
We haven't met yet. We need to come up with the next meeting.
Okay. DEI leadership has not met. The individual subcommittees have been having ongoing meetings, but nothing. I guess Susan did mention some updates there already from the wellness committee in particular. So, as well as the curriculum component of the DEI. So, subcommittees are continuing to do a lot of work. Overall, I would say it's been a very fruitful structure to have the large steering committee and then the subcommittees, and with the composition of administration on each committee and teachers and parents, and it's really been a quite productive framework that I imagine we'll want to continue in other contexts. Strategic plan. We gave kind of a second round of approval to the core documents on the mission vision, the Portrait of a Learner, which is now officially Portrait of a Learner, and the community values. So we really have put together the front pieces of the document. Work is now going forward on the goals that map into those documents, and we're really starting to dig in on that. We've generated a lot of ideas. We've mapped a lot of ideas back and forth to our core documents, mission, vision, portrait of a learner, and core values. And I think we had a discussion at the end of last meeting about probably it's time to start stop the brainstorming out process and start the tightening down to what's feasible process. So that will be the work for the next meeting. Anything I missed on any of those committees?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is there any other requests for other business? Any requests for future agenda items? Public comment. I haven't seen a whole lot of people log in since the first time, so the same ground rules apply. Comments about individual employees, whether positive or negative, are not allowed due to employee rights of privacy. There are many other channels to get information to the board. Our emails are on the webpage, and we welcome feedback through many other channels, but in this public forum, employees have a right to privacy, so no comments about individual employees. I think I would keep the time limits and would keep the sign-up process. Is there anybody who would like to make a public comment? If you're online, just type into chat. If you're in the room, go ahead and raise your hand.
Yeah, we do have one, Brian, in person.
Okay, and I'm not seeing anything online, so I'll go ahead and do the timing, and whoever it is, please go ahead and start by identifying yourself.
Hey, my name is Steve Dexter. I'm an ed tech here at Orono High School and also assistant track coach. And I would like to recognize Ruth White for being awarded the Gatorade Cross Country Athlete of the Year for the 3rd time in a row. It's never been done. So that's pretty amazing for that young lady.
Great, thank you. I'm assuming there are no other comments.
Nothing in the room.
Okay, I don't see anything online either. Next meeting will be February 6th, 6 p.m. in the library and on Zoom. Any requests for information or follow-up?
I've just got one. It's for Susan. Can you make sure that we get any syllabi for new course proposals far enough in advance so that we can look at them before the meeting?
Yes, Meredith Diamond and I were just talking about that this afternoon, and we hope to have those to you a week ahead of time. So we're shooting for February 1st for the February 8th meeting.
Great, thank you.
Next up, we do have an executive session. After we come out of the executive session, there may be one brief vote on a matter pertaining to the executive session, and then a vote for adjournment. So normally I say there won't be a vote. This time there is a possibility of a vote, so I just want to be transparent about that. You can sign off now if you really want to hang out. It is an open meeting. You can hang out until that vote happens. But we will be going into executive session after the vote on the motion. I would make a motion to go into executive session under 1 MRSA 4056A, confidential personnel matters. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to go into executive session? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. The motion carries 5-0. The board will be signing off and moving to another room, and I'll be joining on a different channel.
We shutting this, or can we do?
We're just gonna.
Yeah, you can, it's up to you. You can just leave your device here or you can.
Yeah, since there's a vote, I think we technically need to leave this open though, right?
I'm hosting it, so I will be here. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
getting a down that channel by standing. Pushing the buttons. Covered a lot. Yeah.
First shot, our first remote. Makes it out together to be like a dial.
Yeah. We had a stand up at Clipwood TV. And my parents still make the joke, anytime the day is over, they'll sing the national anthem when they turn off the TV. Just be like, no more television tonight.
Joining her right now, yeah.
Everybody back? I can't see on the tile there.
Yes,
But,
yes.
yep. All right, so we come out of executive session at 7:55. I would make a motion to authorize the superintendent to execute the agreement discussed in executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. The motion carries 5-0. I would motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll go ahead and vote. Jake?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I also vote aye. We're adjourned at 7:56. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you two in the crochet and knitting club?
No, actually, like they keep starting it up and then not.
Oh, it's doing the crochet
I
knitting.
think
Miss Connolly.
No, my crochet club is me at home. So.
I heard you earlier.
Yeah. And sometimes, well, Marissa only uses like, it drives her crazy. Yeah, that's what I, she will, you know, I for Christmas, and it's like, I did it in one evening too, I don't know why you think